And we're live. It is Wednesday, August the 27th, and it is 8 o'clock a.m., the year of our Lord 2025. The sun is shining. Taylor Swift is engaged.
Whoops.
Uh, um, and the cactuses, as you can see, are extremely happy about it. Um, uh, Look, the birds are chirping. It's going to be a great freaking day. And I, having seized back control of the introduction to the show, um, I realize I have nothing to monologue about today. So I'm going to turn things back to Holly, who is very excited about Taylor's engagement and who has a lot to say on the subject. And that's going to be the monologue today.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to move all of the plant life out of the way here. Okay, before everybody rolls their eyes, let me just say a few things. Is Taylor Swift overexposed? Absolutely. Are you sick of her? I'm sure you are. However, she is in fact a generational talent. Most of the people who well, I'm going to get to that
This is
actually.
the Tears of the Patriarchy
That's
mug.
actually a bit of a misnomer. The patriarch should be happy about Taylor Swift, and I will explain why. Um, yeah, most of the people who hate Taylor Swift or think she's talentless have actually never listened to her music closely. I was one of those people. She started in country, and I hate country music. And I thought she was just another like pretty blonde thing, and I was rolled my eyes every time her name came up. But then I had a teenage daughter who forced me to listen to some of her music, but then took me to the Eras concert movie. And not only did I greatly enjoy bonding with my daughter over Taylor Swift's music, and this is a phenomenon, by the way, of dads, even dads and girls, now that she's talking engaged to a football player or been with a football player, parents and their children. It's a generational meetup place, and it's really brought a lot of parents and kids together. Anyway, because of my daughter, I started listening to Taylor Swift, and I mean, she's a phenomenal. I'm a writer. I'm a published writer. Some would say I'm a good writer. Some would say I'm a beautiful writer. Some have said that. I would not say that about myself. But anyway, I
But
know
everyone's saying it.
everyone's saying
Everyone knows it.
everybody's saying it. A lot of people are saying. Um, so anyway, my point is not my own talent, but that I know the English language quite well, and I know
And the
what.
Swahili language.
Well, yeah, I'm still working on that, but yeah, I know it well. And this girl knows her English. Like she is a poet for real, for real. Some of her lyrics just blow me away, especially from a. I mean, now she's 35. Her lyrics, I've on her. I mean, she has like your poppy kind of. Even her poppy stuff has some amazing lyrics. And her lyrics are getting better and better as she ages because obviously, you acquire more depth and wisdom as you age. But even when she was young, I was like, how does this girl have this depth and insight? So she is a generational talent. That's just, I'm sorry if you don't feel that way. Um, but what I want to talk about today, and do you want me to save this? Do you want to end the monologue? I feel like the monologue could go too long.
No, 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 no. We're going with it.
Okay. All right. Just want to check in. Just want to check in. I'll grade myself. If it's too long, I'll give myself a bad grade. Um, so Ben held up the patriarchy tears or whatever mug there. But actually, here's the thing. Taylor is known as a feminist of sorts, but at bottom, she's actually pretty traditional. I mean, just the fact that she has been First of all, she's been open in her song. She has been open and honest for like over a decade that she wants to get married and have kids, which is a very traditional goal. She has chosen a very basic, I mean, he's a very masculine, sort of traditional male. He's big and strong, and she's probably, I think it's safe to say, I think he's not a dumb guy. He's a smart guy. He's funny. You have to, if you're funny, that's an indication of intelligence in my book. But she's probably smarter than him. She's more famous than him, but he's big and strong, and could probably pound anyone that came near her, kind of thing. And he's the football player, and he's super super masculine, and she's always been super super feminine. So the trad people should like this couple. I guess they don't like it because she's more successful and rich than him, but she actually shows a lot of respect for him, which is important to the trad people. She just, she clearly shows a lot of respect and deference for him just in their body language. I mean, he with her as well. But again, this is not, she's a feminist of sorts, but actually this couple is modeling some pretty traditional gender norms and roles. And yeah, so I don't know why. Charlie Kirk, by the way, very creepily went on the his show yesterday, and his marriage advice to her was to submit to her husband, which
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought that was
yeah,
classy.
he's
Um,
always classy. He's always
because
classy.
unsolicited marriage advice to people you don't know is always a good idea.
Well, in that particular
I
advice
mean,
for anyone is a terrible idea.
sometimes I walk
Um,
up to strangers in the street
Carol asked if the
and
patriarchy is happy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
sometimes I walk up to strangers in the street and give them marriage advice. Um, I think um, one of the things about being a football player or a pop star is that people creepily just give you marital advice for no reason, apropos of nothing. So I think it was classy of Charlie Kirk to do that, and I fully support it.
He's always creepy. He's nothing if not creepy. Carol asked a good question. If the patriarchy is happy, why should I be? Well, first of all, Carol, my point is the patriarchy is not happy. I'm just saying that she and Travis, they actually, the reason I think she's so upsetting to the patriarchy is because she is kind of traditional in a way, and yet she's just enough not. She's enough not, like she's traditional in a way, and then she's really subversive of that in a way, and they pick up on that, and she really freaks them the crap out because of that. I think that I think that their relationship and his what I really like about Travis Kelsey is, on the one hand, again, like Taylor, on the surface, he is your trad male guy. Okay, he's just your trad male guy, and she's your sort of trad female girl. But beyond that, I mean, he's marrying a superstar and has clearly no insecurity about it. He's very secure in who he is. He's incredibly supportive of her and just adoring of her as she is. He doesn't want to diminish her in any way. He's fine. He's openly talks about how she's smarter than him. He loves that about her. So to me, like, this is how men should pivot in the new era when women do not need them anymore. You could be manly and masculine and do your thing, but your thing does not have to include oppressing and subjugating women. Like, you can do your manly thing and be fine with a strong woman. Like, it's not a threat to you. And I think that's what they model. And so I think that's why they get such a reaction from the trad people. Is
All right,
because
but I want to ask you a question about this. These are two people who have probably 10 image consultants each. and every aspect of this is stage managed. And why do we take the story as they are presenting it at face
I mean,
value?
you can stage manage how events are rolled out, but I don't think you can stage manage an authentic relationship. I think I mean, they're real people that exist in the world, and their
How do we
relation.
know anything about their real relationship? We know what they've let us see in public.
Well, but I mean, you can kind of pick up. Have you seen the? Of course, you haven't seen the. Watch the New Heights, his podcast. She came on his podcast.
I'm not going to watch a
Of
podcast
course,
with
you're
either
not.
of them.
Of course, you're not.
No, life is really
Like,
short.
you can't judge what you have not um, looked into, and I
I'm not
find
judging it. I'm just asking questions, Holly.
well, it's possible that the whole thing is fake, but I don't know. I think people are real people in real life. Like she's very close to her parents. Like her parents are still married after all these years. The Kelsey's parents are divorced, but they're good friends, and it's clearly a real family. I mean, I don't know how you fake all of that. Um, sure, you're presenting something to the world, that may we all of us, you go out in the world. I mean, maybe not you, because you just let it all hang out, but most people, everybody presents something to the world that they are not, that is holding something back, but
Oh,
that doesn't.
I do that. Certainly, I hold a lot of things back. But my point is, my my public presence is not in the at its core a performance. There are aspects of performance in it, but my public presence is, for the most part, just an attempt to be me. Um, I'm also not selling it for millions in his case, or billions of dollars in her case. Um, and so I just don't know how much of who they present themselves to be in public is an authentic representation of who they are, and how much of it is a persona that I have no criticism of them for having a persona, but I don't assume that when she goes on his podcast a few days before they get engaged, this whole thing isn't a rollout of a a rollout of the next chapter in a cool story.
I mean, I don't know. It seems incredibly, their relationship seems very incredibly genuine to me, but I'm sure it has problems. All relationships do. That's a genuine thing too. My point is that whether it's contrived or not contrived, okay, I'll allow you that, even though I do not agree with that at all.
I'm not
Um,
asserting it, I'm asking.
uh, okay, well, I have no way of knowing. None of us have any way of knowing. Okay, so I will allow that. But whether it's contrived or not, what I'm saying is that their sort of mix of, in some ways, traditional gender norms, and also just really subverting those, and that blend of the two. Not only it really, I think that's why it gets under some of the conservatives' skin a whole lot, because first of all, they show that it's possible. They show that it's possible. They show that you can be a manly man and be with a feminine woman who is incredibly successful and wealthy and, talented. And that's a dynamic that absolutely can work. And then yeah, they show that that's possible. Like, you don't have to put your trad wife in a
Okay,
kitchen.
but let me argue the other side of this for a minute. And I just for the record, I don't care. I mean, Taylor Swift is extremely talented. She's a fabulous businesswoman. I wish her all the best. She pisses off all the right people, which I have a lot of respect for. She's better at pissing them off than I am, which I really respect. So I got nothing against either of them, and I wish them all the best. That said, the whole thing does have an air of the the top football player in high school getting engaged to the sparkliest cheerleader, and she does wear sparkles.
Ben, did you see the text of her announcement?
Huh?
No.
Oh, so her announcement was essentially your high school English teacher and gym teacher are getting married.
That's
So
because
just
she also has a song called High School
right,
that
but
she
that just goes to Ben's
Yeah,
characterization. But
yeah.
go on, Ben.
but let's be serious. She is nothing like any of our high school English teachers who were not fashionable people. Um, and my high school English teacher was an awesome drunk. And I adored her, but she wasn't Taylor Swift. This is more, and Taylor Swift presenting herself as an English teacher is actually not what's going on here. It's really like the most popular girl in high school marries the most popular
She's
football
a
player.
big nerd, actually. She's a pretty big nerd.
Okay, but that's not what she's famous for.
Well, I think the other thing about her is she kind of, I mean, like a lot of nerdy women like me and men, love her because again, her lyrics are not just, brainless. She's a big reader. There's literary references in there.
Understood. I'm not diminishing her at all. I'm just saying she is um her you know if she were just writing those lyrics down and sending them to literary magazines, she would not be Taylor Swift. She is famous because she puts on very sparkly dresses and she's very charismatic and she puts on a really great show. And that is not the high school English teacher thing.
Sure, sure, sure.
I just wanted to
But
pop up
yeah, no,
here.
it's, huh?
I just wanted to pop up here briefly to note that there are two people in the Ben Wittes cinematic universe who I think are maybe three who obviously come to mind, and probably many more in Ben's actual universe, uh, who are Swift experts. And having this conversation without their perspective troubles me.
Well,
Uh,
both of them have been
We're
invited.
invited.
Both,
including the third.
well, I'm not sure who the third is.
Well, there's a J, an A, and a K.
A K.
Pomps.
Catherine
Oh,
Pompili.
um, yeah, so
Who's the J? I don't even know the J.
Janine.
Oh, I don't know her.
So Janine and Anna have both been invited. Um, and um, and Janine has not responded yet, which I assume means she's asleep. And Anna is getting on a train for Washington and may join from the train. And
These have jobs.
uh we're gonna do what we can, but the news does not wait for the Swifties. It carries on. I will say I know about this in real time because I'm on a text chain with Anna and Janine. And so look, your point is well taken. It is important that we invite them and that they come if they want, but I cannot hold up Dog Shirt TV for the
Well,
schedules of anybody.
fair enough. I just also want to sort of, I don't know, laud myself inappropriately for saying Ben Wittes Cinematic Universe. Thank you.
Oh, that
Monologue, by the way. Are we still in the monologue?
we have drifted from the monologue into the dialogue or the multi-log. Carol, what is on your mind this morning?
As your friendly neighborhood curmudgeon, I just wanted to share something that I think is poetry. It's short, it's
Hmm.
Japanese. In this world, love has no color, yet how deeply my body is stained with yours. That's poetry.
That sounds like something Taylor would write, actually. She loves colors.
I
Has
think
she
that
written
is
it?
Um, in a manner of speaking, I'm telling you, her catalog is massive, and
Yeah,
there's a
and
lot of
and she uses a lot more words to say it. I'm sorry, this is
Yeah,
she
masterful.
there is something
songwriting's hard,
incredible
man.
about the brevity. All right. All of which
Is
is
to
a
say
long-winded way of saying that
very
the sun
long-winded.
is shining, the birds are chirping. It's gonna be a great freaking day.
Oh,
We're watching Dog Shirt TV, a forking revolution in morning television.
You are watching Dog Shirt TV, and it is a goddamn revolution in morning television. And one of the revolutionary features is that sometimes we go off on a Taylor Swift jag, and we discuss Taylor Swift
involuntarily.
with only, and guys, if you don't, we do flights of fancy here. And sometimes there is an American style royal engagement, and this is it, and we're just gonna run with that. And
And people need to be happy. Whatever makes people happy right now, I don't know.
that's
And
right.
again, she's subversive. She's a subversive force.
And another one of the revolutionary features, of which there are many, is that, sometimes the monologue takes over a third of the show, and that's okay, because form is just, what we make of it, and none of this is. I just want to point out this is your monologue,
So, based on the reaction of the Greek chorus, they thought
all of
it was
which
cool.
is a 22-minute long way of saying that we are not allowed to have fun anymore. But Taylor and Travis are, and sometimes you find love in the middle of the Trump era, and bully, bully for you if that
That's another
happens.
great pop song. We found love in a hopeless place by Rihanna and Calvin Harris.
Wow.
That's a good one. We found love in a hopeless place. They found love in a hopeless place.
There it is. All right. So, Holly, what is on your mind this morning other than the coming nuptials of TNT?
Whenever you ask me that, my mind just goes completely blank, and I'm like deer in the headlights.
Well, ask me that.
Ben, what is on your mind this morning?
I walked out of the DuPont Circle metro station
Oh,
yesterday and
yes.
found four, I believe, National Guardsmen standing outside of a Krispy Kreme. And I did love that image so much that I whisked out my phone and snapped a picture of them. And I wrote my column about it. And I used it as the good morning image in Dog Shirt Daily this morning because I gotta say that there is no hour of the day or night that I have not walked by that Krispy Kreme and never once worried about carjacking or being attacked. There may be a safer place in Washington than
There have been
DuPont's
some recent robberies. I hate to tell you.
on on the circle.
Yes. Not in broad daylight.
Yeah, I gotta say, 11:30 in the morning or noon, whenever that was. I mean, you could be in an emergency room, like, and that would be safer because there are attending doctors if anything happens. But DuPont Circle, broad daylight is pretty damn safe. So I am
Yep.
glad that we have the National Guard out making it safer. They looked bored as shit.
Yep.
And uh, I just want to say to all the National Guardsmen and women patrolling safe places in the DC area, uh, uh, make yourselves as photogenically bored as possible. people.
Resistance, right?
Yeah, just, we accept that you're there on, just following orders in the good sense, not in the bad sense, and you don't really control where you go. But look as unhappy as these guys and let people take pictures of you. That is your form of
Sure,
resistance.
sure.
And
So
if you find National Guards men or women looking bored as shit, take a picture of them and send it my way because I think a thread of bored National Guards people is exactly what the world needs.
I did not take my phone cam slash camera with me. I went the other day when I went running on the mall. But I saw lots of bored, strolling National Guards people. And then what really blew my mind is I got up to the Lincoln Memorial and there were National Guards people taking pictures for tourists. They please can you take a picture of me? And I really wanted to take a picture of the National Guard taking pictures of the tourists. I mean, on the one hand, it was sweet to see them like interacting with the tourists and stuff, but then it's like, come the fuck on! Like, what is this? And then I saw multiple groups just strolling the mall, which of course is totally safe. I go running there alone at night. Like I have never felt safer anywhere in the world than on the National Mall. I don't. I mean, it is always full of
I mean,
people. It
to
is
be fair, DC is a high crime city, but it is not at the National Mall.
no, never, never. They keep that area just clear. There's no homeless people there. They're not allowed to hang out there. There's no nothing except for shiny, happy people, doing their thing and statues of dead people. And that's it. And it's totally safe. The other thing I saw online yesterday, which made me laugh so hard, is National Guard collecting trash, which I felt very bad for them about that. But not only that, they were collecting trash. They were wearing their fatigues, their camouflage fatigues. And then over top their camouflage fatigues, they had on those high visibility vests, those like red fluorescent vests. And someone commented, do they want to be seen or not?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. You're making me think that what is really needed now is for somebody to go around the city and do a photo essay of what the National Guard are really doing in Washington. And I think this may be something that I just have to do today or tomorrow. And
WAPO's been doing some stuff on this. Yeah.
Oh, so John Hawkinson, come on and tell us about that because
That's where I saw the trash collection.
right, but I mean like a sort of more detailed, like here are 10 National Guard installations and what they're up to.
You know what you
Um,
could do? You could do like an art piece kind of photo essay in like black and white. You could really like make it arty and like
I'm thinking of like spending some time today wandering around uh doing a photographic
you
essay of
the
National
other
Guard.
thing I've seen people suggest, which I think would be a great idea, and if I weren't leaving town tomorrow, I would probably go do it. I would do it today if you want to go do it today, is to go out there and start collecting trash with them to show that like and I volunteer on the mall with the Park Service. Again, it's not clear what I'm supposed to say about that, um, but yeah, that's what volunteers are for. You send them out. I personally have not collected trash. I'm assigned to a specific memorial, but like that's what volunteers do. They collect trash. And then I know people who aren't even signed up with the Park Service as volunteers who just voluntarily just go down on the mall to keep it clean and pick up trash. Like, this is not something you need. And I don't even need a weapon. They're carrying weapons now, Ben. Maybe you can comment on that.
Well, so just for the record, I don't have a problem with the National Guard carrying weapons because that's what National Guard do. I do have a problem with National Guard being inappropriately deployed at all. And anytime you have somebody deployed with a weapon, you have a chance of misunderstanding, you have a chance of confrontation. This is a high volatility situation. DC people are behaving, frankly, very, very well. But it only takes one to do something stupid, or one National Guardsman or woman who's gets excited about something, and you have a potentially explosive and dangerous situation. Now, that is, you know, query whether that's an argument for having the National Guard unarmed or whether it's an argument for not having them there at all. I tend to think the latter, actually, that, the National Guard is there for exists for emergency response and situations in which you need to call up the militia. Well, in those situations, you actually they should be armed. If they shouldn't be armed, in my opinion, they shouldn't be there at all unless it's a disaster relief situation where you need them for, clearing downed trees or something like that. So, or earthquake relief. So I'm less troubled by the fact that they're armed than by the fact that they're there. I don't think the federal government should be patrolling the streets of DC with National Guard or with ICE. I'm more offended actually by the ICE presence than I am by the National Guard presence, because the National Guard, to be fair to them, they're not really doing anything. Whereas the ICE people are,
Then.
yeah, they're just there. They're just there looking bored. The ICE people are actually doing something destructive
Yeah.
in and so, yes, as John says in the chat, the guard is there as a show of force, and that is an offensive thing, and it is made more offensive by the fact that they're armed. But the marginal impact of the armed, as opposed to just having soldiers in the streets, is, in my opinion, relatively minimal.
Yeah.
Whereas and also, I'm like relatively used to it. There are places that you go. I've spent a lot of time in Israel. There are lots of armed soldiers walking around. You like that. The arms don't bother me particularly. What bothers me is the militarization itself. And one of the things about Washington is that it's the most powerful city in the world, blah, 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 and you can kind of walk anywhere you want to go. And that is not true right now. And Lafayette Square gets sealed off when the president feels like it. And that's wrong. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So that's my view of it. I don't begrudge National Guardsmen their rifles. I do begrudge them being in Washington for no reason at all.
Well, I begrudge them on behalf of them. Like, I think who these people are is important. Okay. So now I realize I don't know if the guards from other states have actually arrived, which could change my assessment. But the DC Guard, DC is an overwhelmingly Democratic city, as we've said. These people are residents of DC. This is not what they signed up for at all. And frankly, and this is just my observation, and I just want to cop to complete bias in how I took these sites in. But when I was running on the mall, so I passed like multiple little groups of National Guardsmen, and their sort of body language and their just what they were doing. The tone was friendly, unthreatening, just out for a stroll. Like, I said good evening to them. They said good evening back. Again, interacting with tourists, like totally threatening. Then I saw a group of federal agents, I assume, of some kind. There was not marked on their uniforms, but they were wearing olive green with the black Kevlar vests and like shades and hats. And I'm pretty sure they had their guns visible. And I'm assuming maybe they were ICE. I don't know. Again, they were not marked, but their entire body language was different than the Guard. These people were strutting around. They looked menacing to me. They looked very menacing. Again, maybe this is just my bias coming in, but it was a whole different vibe, this group versus the Guard.
So I will say this, you want to be careful how you say this, but the body language of law enforcement matters enormously. And I deal with law enforcement a lot. And, sometimes in relatively tense situations. And when they want to be menacing, it is very easy to be menacing without changing a word that you say. How you carry yourself, how far back you're holding your shoulders. Are you smiling, or do you have the resting asshole face look? Are you approaching somebody very directly with, purpose in your step, or are you strolling over? These are all things that send messages. Uh, Andrew says, "Are you masked?" That's obviously
They weren't masked, so but
an
that looked
extreme,
really scary. A
an
mask, like,
extreme version of it. But look, when you know, these are things that convey a lot of meaning. And by the way, I'm a middle-aged white guy. Like I'm not I'm not a person who has instinctive reason to fear police officers, right? I'm the probably one of the least likely targets. Um, and um, and I do think that, if you look at the body language of those National Guardsmen in front of the Krispy Kreme, it is bored. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here either. Um, shoulders a little bit slumped. Uh, it it's not me. And if you look at ICE people on those raids, they are having fun. They are getting off on this. And
oh yeah.
I do think it is fair to judge that and to say, um, you know, what are you as an individual involved in this thing? And I accept that you may have no role in deciding what the policy is, but what are you as an individual conveying in the course of doing it? And how much are you getting off on it? And I do think that is fair to make assessments about in real time and to judge people about.
Yeah, totally agree. Some of the videos, and I do think at least, it's only a matter of time where there's an incident of violence between ICE officers and a bystander, because the hostility is in these communities is very high. There's lots of videos online of ICE doing their raids and, bystanders yelling at them and things like that. I don't know if you saw the one video from DC. They've been very active in DC and the surrounding region. In Virginia, they've been quite active, but they've been very active in DC. And there's one video online where they're, arresting someone. They've got him on the ground kind of thing, wrestled him to the ground. And a bystander yells at them, "You're ruining America." And one of the ICE officers yells back, "Liberals already did that."
Right.
And let me tell you, if I said anything like that as a federal worker, I would on the other side, you would be fired so fast, you would be in so much trouble. I just can't even imagine, saying anything like that in public, when you're on official business and you're doing an official duty. Of course, the person was, I believe they were masked. But it's really appalling. It's becoming, as JVL has written quite a bit on this, but ICE they're really making it into their little sort of partisan Gestapo, and that's doing their sort of dirty work, and they're hiring people. They're raising hiring quotas. They're lowering standards. They're specifically recruiting. That's the other thing I noticed is,
and they keep showing up to places where it's not obvious what they're doing there. For example, a Gavin Newsom political event. What was that?
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, and turning a law enforcement organization into a mode of political intimidation.
Yeah.
And so
they're probably hiring Proud Boys. Who knows?
All I know what to do, all I know to do about this is, first of all, don't throw sandwiches at them. No. Don't interfere.
No.
Feel free to yell.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's fair.
The most important thing you can do is take pictures. Take pictures, take videos.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody says in the chat, I think, yes, throw sandwiches. I want to argue with that, because the person who threw sandwiches is facing felony charges. Also, if you throw sandwiches, if you throw something, a projectile, it can be mistaken for a rock.
Yeah.
It can be mistaken for something. You're going to end up, if enough people do that, you're going to end up with somebody getting shot.
Yeah.
And even if you don't get shot, what you're going to see is felony charges, and some of them are going to stick.
But also, I think it's very, very important, whether you're confronting ICE or whatever, protesting or whatever. Again, Martin Luther King and the original civil rights, they knew what they were doing, okay? In terms of the narrative, I think, you've got to maintain the moral high ground, because that is the persuasion. Shame them. That's your main power, is shame them. Don't become a shame. Don't bring shame upon yourself, even if you think it's justified. As a narrative divide, it's incredibly destructive. And so peaceful protests, kindness, kill them with kindness,
So
kill them with
Andrew
kindness.
now
Really
says gently drop sandwiches at their feet. Now, I think there's something to that, holding up a sandwich, the sandwich as symbol.
Eat a sandwich.
What's that?
Eat a sandwich.
I'm not opposed to using sandwiches. Do not hit people with a sandwich. Do not throw sandwiches at people. I think there's something to be said for being above it. And, I am, the more we talk, the more committed I am to going on a scouting tour today and doing a photographic essay of maybe I'll do that for the situation column today. But I really think there's something, you want to be mindful about your engagement with this, because what you don't want is a series of isolated incidents in which people behave badly or stupidly, and there are a bunch of arrests. I think the much better way to do it is to have a kind of coordinated, and I'm fine if the sandwich is the symbol. By the way, it should be a ham sandwich because, of the old saying that a prosecutor can convince a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. So the ham sandwich, even for those of you who keep kosher, should be, should be the symbol. But be mindful of how you use it. I don't want people that poor guy is facing a felony charge. I assume he'll eventually be able to plead it out to a misdemeanor. But that's not
Lost his
something.
job. I mean, a lot of
He's
people are
lost
losing
his
their jobs
job.
these days.
So I just think that you want to think through how you engage this stuff.
Yeah, the other point I was going to make about ICE, and particularly the recruitment of ICE and the deployment of ICE. So the other thing I noticed about the guard walking around is there were many women in there. There were a lot of National Guard women, guards women, and you rarely see a woman in these ICE videos, and the recruitment of the new ICE, the new recruitment videos is really hyper masculine, all of that kind of stuff. So they're kind of appealing to, whatever the term toxic masculinity is, I don't know if that's out of favor now, but this sort of brute force side of that MAGA tends to elevate, that's really dangerous. It's really dangerous. And the image you portray of law enforcement really matters. There's a lot of you, I think, have read the book Corruptible by Brian Klaas, and he has a whole chapter, or I think it's a whole chapter on law enforcement and all of the misuses of law enforcement power. And he looks at recruitment videos in America versus other countries. Like in New Zealand, the police recruiting videos are often women. They're doing community service. They're helping people. They're presenting the officers as public servants. And the message is, if you want to serve your community, then this is what, come join us. And the American recruiting videos tend to be, first of all, a lot of police forces are literally getting military grade equipment that you could argue they don't really need. And they're showing off this, this military equipment. They're doing like the, bad boys, routine. And it's really appealing to this sort of hyper masculinity that is not helpful actually in law enforcement and can go really badly. So the ICE force, it's not only hyper partisan, but it's like this hyper masculine appeal to like almost, violence. There's obviously a racial element in there, although a lot of these ICE officers I've noticed are people of color. But they're, pretty much going after, they're racially profiling the people that they're stopping. There's no question that that's happening. And it's just like really, really toxic. So
No, that's exactly right. And it is unsubtle and
dangerous. It's just a matter of time.
it is just a matter of time. And so, yeah, I do think the most important thing people can do is go out there and take pictures. And so that is what I'm going to do today in the Holly Berkley Fletcher Department of One Thing a Day.
I totally, that's all just collapsed.
Well, I am going to do it today, and that is going to be my situation column, a little photo essay of what I saw at the occupation, and I urge you all to do it as well. Holly, what else is on your mind today?
Yeah, well, the one thing I have just been since I went to Kenya and then got back and then all the book stuff started. Like I have just not I've been a bad citizen. Other than I've been canvassing a couple of times, but I haven't been to any protests. I actually want to come into DC. Are you still doing your banging your pots?
We're doing it every evening, although I was sleepy last night and didn't go.
But did other people do it?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
just outside your house or you go somewhere?
No, well, we walk up to Middle C Music on Wisconsin Avenue because a group gathers there, and the music store lets us use drums and cymbals and cowbells and stuff, and so we can make a lot of noise there.
Well, I think they're having pretty big protests at like 14th and U. I don't know if it's daily or not. But anyway, I've really been wanting to. I did go into DC, like I said, to go running on the mall because that's just a very short, especially if I go around 7 because there's plenty of parking. And it's like 10, it's like a 10-minute drive from my house. So I just go in and do my little run and then I go home and I wanted to see kind of what the scene was on the mall, but I haven't been into DC proper.
Well, come
Um,
on in this evening and
this
do
evening
bang on pots with us.
this evening I cannot, and then I'm leaving town again. Um, but at some point I will definitely come in. So
Um, all right. Do others have thoughts or subjects or
Carol, you should go into the district. Carol says she's going to be in Falls Church, but she's hesitant. Go into the district. It's fine. It really is fine, and see it for yourself. Like see what's going on. Um, it's
oh, let's talk about flag burning.
yeah, flag burning. Good point.
Okay, so Andrew raises the issue of flag burning, and I want to say that uh, you know, nobody was burning flags until the president issued an executive
Yeah,
order, which responded to the epidemic of people all over the country not burning flags. And
yeah.
and now the president issued an executive order to control the epidemic of people not burning flags, and all of a sudden people are burning flags.
Which
Um,
it's just playing right into their hands.
right.
Like I just feel like that's dumb.
So here's my suggestion to everybody.
I've seen lots of flag waving.
Don't burn flags because the president says you can't. Um, and leave the president's executive order to the ACLU, which will arrange some way to challenge it. There's no uh, there's no reason to get yourself taunted into burning a flag. Um, there are a lot of good people out there who find flag burning offensive. And just because the president says Janine Pirro will prosecute the shit out of you if you do it, doesn't mean you should run off and do it. And so, like, again, think about what your own political protest is going to consist of, and it doesn't have to be determined by what the president says you can't
Someone
do.
suggested burning Trump flags.
I'm gonna make a pitch against incendiary protests as a general matter, particularly if you're in a place where public fires can be prosecuted as such. Kate, what's on your mind today?
I think that sorry,
Whoa. We're gonna mute Kate until what? Hang on.
order for the flag burning was lighting
Wait,
fire.
start over. I muted you because of the feedback.
Uh-oh.
No, no, you're good now. But start over.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had a conspiracy theory through my head. I kind of mentioned it in the chat earlier this morning when I was running, and they were talking a little bit about Bolton and how it might not be all about the book, the investigation on the raid, and how Ratcliffe maybe had some foreign intel that pertained to classified, mishandling classified information. And since Bolton was Trump's number one critic about his handling of Russia and Ukraine, I just kept thinking, could the Russians have been feeding Ratcliffe bad intel? Okay.
That is a very
I
interesting
think so. I think definitely, don't you think?
that is a very interesting whoops.
Their penchant for, believing Russians, and I just
Well, and
couldn't
the
think if I was
Russians
going
penchant
crazy or
for
not.
and the
So
Russians penchant for false intelligence.
Right.
so I don't think you're going crazy, but I also don't think that's what happened.
Okay.
So here is what, and the caveat here is that everything we know about this, we know because the FBI, and here I mean the FBI senior brass, is leaking stuff to the New York Post.
Hmm.
Um, but here is what we know, which is that something came in from some specialized collection mechanism, um, presumably a 702 or some intelligence sharing, um, came in during the Biden administration. Uh, the um, the administration or the FBI under Chris Wray does not pursue it for some reason. Um, Kash Patel gets briefed about sensitive investigations, and his eyes light up over this. Now, do his eyes light up because it's something um, uh, egregious, or do his eyes light up because the subject is Bolton? Who knows, right? It's an overdetermined variable, perhaps. So I am willing to believe that there is something, you know, lots of senior people have mishandled classified material. Um, there's a few things that jump out at me as weird about this. The first is that it doesn't interest the FBI under Chris Wray or the Justice Department under Merrick Garland particularly, but it really interests them now. That raises the question of which Justice Department and FBI do you trust more? That question tends to answer itself, in my view. But the second thing that's interesting is what are the circumstances in which a foreign you would come across evidence of mishandling of classified information, but not espionage, through some foreign intelligence collection or sharing.
Well, do you think that
And
Bolton was in
you
contact with
both are better
with?
positioned to know the answer to that question than I am.
Well, I mean, do you think that Bolton was in contact with Ukrainians, perhaps, and somehow? I'm not saying feeding them classified information, but maybe advising them in a way. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I was just trying to figure out. Bolton's obviously not a stupid person and knows how to handle classified information and is a lawyer. So I'm trying to wrap my head around what possibly bad motives could they.
I look, I mean, I said in my I will wait until they file charges against John Bolton to evaluate John Bolton's conduct. Um, the FBI executed a search warrant. They carried out a bunch of boxes. Uh, and I'm gonna, if they have a case to make, they can go to a grand jury and file an indictment, and I will read that and evaluate it in good faith. What I'm not going to do is convict John Bolton based on rumors that Kash Patel is whispering, or Dan Bongino, of all people, is whispering in the ear of the New York Post. And I do have enough information because I was fucking there to evaluate the FBI's conduct.
Yep.
And here is what I saw. At 6:55 a.m., a bunch of Montgomery County police cars show up at the scene and seal off the road on behalf of the FBI. I know it was on the behalf of the FBI because they told me. At 7:03, so 8 minutes later, Kash Patel wildly irresponsibly tweets that FBI agents are on mission, which is something you don't do, you know, disclosing an ongoing operation. And then, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes after that, the New York Post, who is not at the scene, I was there by myself, writes a story that says they're searching John Bolton's house. Now, was that because they were doing a ride along with the FBI or because they were on the phone getting stuff from Kash or Dan Bongino or their designate? I do not know. But they were, they were reporting an ongoing operation in real time. And so I, that there was a senior level decision at the FBI to disclose an operation in real time is nakedly apparent from the circumstances. And unlike John Bolton's conduct, that is something we can evaluate in real time.
Yep. Sorry for taking us over. Just was literally thinking about it my entire run, and I just was like, I don't know.
No, I think you are likely wrong, but the conspiracy theory is likely wrong. But I also think we should keep darker motives and explanations in our minds because some percentage of the time they're going to end up being accurate.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see if it'll have something to do with Russia and Ukraine, but we'll see. Thanks, guys.
We are going to leave it there. Folks, we're going to be back tomorrow. Maybe the Swifties will join us. Maybe John Bolton will join us.
Of course, endure this again. I mean,
maybe I'll talk about my photo tourism today. I haven't walked around DC with a camera in a long time. Maybe the cactuses will do their thing.
I will not be on tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah, Holly's not going to be here. But I'll be here, and you'll be here, and it's going to be a blast.